So all knowledge starts from space, and sky is the limit. And this eternal knowledge is almost like a blueprint with which you lead your lives. And the first among them is gratitude. Gratitude was a word that was given to me when I was in my moral science class in the convent school that I went to. And they wanted us to define it. I always loved words, and I used to think to myself, it has to be, the meaning of this has to be within the word itself. And then it came to me that gratitude is indeed a great attitude. I was too young to understand the depth of that statement at that time. But as we go about living our lives and appreciating the people in it, the experiences that we are blessed with, the quality of gratitude is in fact very healing. If I were to prescribe one thing for the rest of humanity, for any illness or ailment that they might have, it would be a dose of gratitude every day. Gratitude relaxes you. It really works on reducing stress. People with gratitude look very rested. They sleep much better. They do not have a lot of very uncanny habits that you would not really see in general. For example, people, they will do this with their nose. They'll play with their hair. Those are people who really have a lot of restlessness in them. If you are around somebody who constantly is doing this, it's not really that they are itching, that they have to do it. They do it because they are in a situation of restlessness in their body, that they have to play with their hair, play with their hands, or you'll notice that they actually have to shake their legs. I know modern medicine has a name for that now, and they call it the restless leg syndrome. Soon they will have a name for picking the nose syndrome. And rather than defining syndromes like this, we need to find the root cause of why it manifests. It is not normal to do this, even if you're thinking. It is not normal to hold your face, even if it's the most astonishing thing that you've ever seen. It isn't normal. Your face is your face. It does not need support. For that, it has a neck. When you have the quality of gratitude, which is indeed practiced every single morning, just for a few minutes, 1.5, 2 minutes, just be grateful for maybe 5 things in your life. The list can be ever-changing every day. Usually, people who do that simple exercise stop being negative, because you're infusing in your body a lot of optimism in the form of gratitude every single morning. Then you would not feel like doing this. You would not feel like picking your nose. You would not feel like playing with your hair. You would not shake your legs. And the quality of your speech would be very lucid, very clear. It would have proper stresses and pauses. The concept would be very well thought of and spoken. You don't really need to have an immaculate vocabulary to communicate. In fact, you don't even have to have the right accent or the right syntax of the sentences. Effective communicators seldom really needed the power of language. Agreed, the power of language can perhaps be the cherry on your already refreshing big scoops of ice cream sundae, but it is not a requirement. You can speak very plainly and yet convey the deepest message if you are in a place of gratitude. Gratitude is the be-all and end-all of everything in life. If you wake up in the morning and realize why you have 2 feet, it's something completely remarkable. To have that awareness that you don't have to wear a limb before you step out of your bed. Just like I have a sign outside my practice that says, in a very nice way, leave your footwear outside. In my grandfather's clinic, when he practiced in South India, it used to say, I complained I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. And then it said, please leave your shoes here and bring your feet inside. So my grandfather had a very sweet sense of humor, which was always infused with biblical knowledge and Bhagavad Gita knowledge and Upanishad knowledge and perhaps even some knowledge from the Sufis. He thought all religion is man-made, and I couldn't agree more. But he said practices of any faith or culture or religion or spirituality create substance in an individual. It creates methodology to deal with life. It creates a requirement to want to celebrate life. It cleans up the clutter in your head every single day. You will notice that if you've been meditating for 6 days and suddenly you decide to give a little gap on the 7th day, you'll feel miserable. Because your body loves it. What is wonderful when I practice TM is that it infuses in me a gush of joy, a blush of being, and the type of happiness that only cells know. It's energy and happiness on a very cellular level. It really gives you the tools to handle your inadequacies, your unhappiness, and all the craziness that is part and parcel of your life and existence in a very amicable, beautiful way. And that is how it absolutely needs to be. If you were able to manage all of that, is it just because of meditation? More so, it is the quality of gratitude that you have towards meditation. And the fact that this technique came into your life. Many people go to classes, only few learn what is taught. There is so much information everywhere. And we live in the age of Google, everything seems interesting. And when I talk to you about the second tenet, you'll understand a little bit more about it. Gratitude is something which heals your body and your soul. It makes your immune system top-notch. You never fall sick, never have coughs and colds. And you are such a stabilizing force in so many people's lives, not just yours. Disease seldom comes to people who have gratitude as part of their biochemistry. It is impossible to be grateful and have a health condition. People often confuse the quality of acknowledgement with gratitude. One can always acknowledge, I've been so lucky, so this person has, this has happened in my life. That's an acknowledgement. Gratitude is an emotion and a virtue and a happening and a synthesis and a biochemical reaction. It is what helps you transcend even when you are not meditating. It is this one beautiful thing which allows you to extend the effort. You will feel like exercising when you have gratitude, because you have gratitude for your body. You want to take care of it. And I think of gratitude like weights in a gym. When you just do cardiovascular exercise, once you get off that machine, your body has stopped working. But if you mix cardiovascular exercise with weights, even when you step out of the gym, your body is still burning fat. That is the gorgeous thing about interval training. So gratitude is one such thing. You meditate, and then when you have gratitude with your meditation, the whole process of that meditative energy lasts all day until it is time for you to infuse your meditative practice again with another round of meditation. Meister Eckhart, who is a very well-known German theology expert, he lived a long, long time ago. And he said, if the only prayer you ever said in your life was thank you, that would suffice. And what is beautiful about these two words, thank you, is most people say it like lip service. So when somebody helped you at a store, you're going to say, thank you. Very different from saying thank you. And usually when you mean to say thank you, you don't stop by saying thank you. It is normally followed by a pause of deep silence and reverence, or it is followed by the reason why you feel that gratitude. Like saying, thank you, I had a wonderful meal. That is definitely more sincere than thank you. I think of thank you as Om. It's like a horn. The jungle of cars in the streets of Bombay. But if I say thank you, that was a wonderful meal, that's like Om. It lasts a little longer. The other wonderful thing about gratitude is when you're having a really low day, the exercise we did of 108 things? I do that list every full moon. And I strongly recommend you guys to do it every full moon. You'll notice that some aspects of your list do not change. They are very concrete and they are part of your being. But some things are constantly evolving. They are inspired by the season that you're in, the environment that you're in, whether you're on holiday or not, whether you're in deep meditation or not, whether you had a lousy day or not, the people in your life, the people who left your life. And the other thing is, gratitude is not judgmental. It never asks questions. It just accepts. Usually people who have a problem with gratitude say things like, why should I be grateful? My grandfather who raised me has cancer. That is a very immature statement. The fact that he raised you is gratitude. the fact that he has cancer is perhaps linked to a plethora of different things. And perhaps you have nothing to do with it at all. And perhaps it is not some type of a cardinal punishment. I don't believe in punishment. But perhaps it is a karma combination of that one thing that you never knew about your grandfather. Maybe he betrayed a woman and he was a young man, and that is coming back to haunt him in the form of cancer. The other very solemn thing about the tenet of gratitude is it really allows you to pause and appreciate life along the way. Once people have started being part of the experiment of gratitude, it's soon metamorphosed into the experience of gratitude. Rather than looking at the same stop signs, all of a sudden their eyes went to see the flowers that were around the stop sign. Rather than seeing the holes which is in one ratty old sweater, they opened their closet and appreciated the fact that they did have clothes and a place to keep them. Rather than holding on to seemingly insignificant, irrelevant, annoying, crazy aspects of life, none of that triviality even entered into them. Instead, everything was a joy. There was no choice but to live in the moment. One might argue, isn't it normal for a person to have gratitude when I have done so much for them? You need to think on why you are assuming such a reaction from another individual. Every action that you give and do for another person needs to be unconditional. Do not expect anything in return. Because the day that you expect something in return, it means that what you are giving to another is conditional. It is not unconditional. Because you're expecting something in return. Do it because you want to. Do it because you feel like doing it. And even in conversation or even in thought, should you never reference that action of yours. It should be an unspoken gesture. If you speak of it, that gesture loses value. If you don't speak of it, the value is divine totality. I've noticed that people who are very calm make the most beautiful food. If you're frazzled, you will put extra salt. The chances are you will salt twice because you won't even remember. And what you're really doing for somebody at that point is you're not cooking a meal for them. You're insulting them. And you're insulting yourself in the process. Many of us are caregivers to our children, to our spouses, to our parents, to our friends. But unless you have that gratitude for yourself, and take care of yourself first, for the divine vehicle that you have, anything you do to anybody else is fake. I've had several people who have told me, I'm very unhappy, but when I go and help somebody else, I become happy. Such a thing is not possible. You have to be happy first in order to spread happiness. Otherwise, you're starting with a state which is not authentic. You have to start with a state that is absolutely real. And embrace your uniqueness. And that is gratitude. There is no requirement to be like someone else, to have a proper resemblance to somebody else, either physically, emotionally, or psychologically. People strive to be physiologically like Barbie until they change how Barbie looks. When Barbie is going to become this voluptuous woman, I wonder what will happen to the plastic surgeons of the world. There is a lot of clutter in this world. Clutter in the environment, clutter in the mind, being overwhelmed. The quality of gratitude will help you completely pace yourself. You will give yourself time between actions. And when you give yourself time between actions, automatically you will be fabulous at what you do. You could have a day which is filled with 5 activities. In the morning, maybe you have to do your meditation. Then, let's say you have to teach a class. And then you have to see patients. And then you have to teach a music class. And then you have to go and have a meal with a friend who's extremely loud and lots of fun. You need time between these activities because they're all different things. You have to reclaim yourself. You have to reclaim your consciousness. And when you give yourself that time, not only does your body heal, you also give yourself gratitude for what has happened and prepare yourself with gratitude for what is going to happen. People with gratitude never get into road traffic accidents. It's only an unconscious mind. The argument is, what if somebody hits me from the back? Have you ever thought of it? They decided to hit the back of your car, not the back of somebody else's car. It means there was some pocket of energy that traveled with your restlessness to the person who was driving behind you. And maybe they were very frail that your restlessness easily went into them. And hence the accident, right? The other thing is that people with gratitude look better. I don't really mean physically. I mean the way that they handle themselves. The way they walk into a room, you can't help but notice because they're so gorgeous. They automatically make their presence felt without doing anything. Nothing at all, just by being there. They don't need a drum roll or like a complete, announcement that they've arrived. Even if they quietly come and sit, their presence will be felt. No flashcards, no flashy clothes, no flash mob, nothing. They're just there. The other thing with the quality of gratitude is that it really strengthens your brain. You will notice that you are able to focus better, that you're able to retain more information, your memory definitely improves. And there is a certain sense of balance. Balance in not just your activities, but a sense of balance in thought, a certain gait in your step. That type of balance is very infectious in a good way. It's the demeanor that everybody wants to tap into and become part of immediately. And the most important thing is that gratitude is tremendously infectious. Once a person notices that gratitude is just coming out of every pore of your being, they can't help but to be like you. So in many ways, you're creating a wonderful snowball effect. If the entire world just had more gratitude, we would be a far healthier and happier population.